Nothing's been confirmed yet, and we haven't heard anything from officials.
Okay, and last question. For the most part, are there ambulances still there standing by? Are they leaving? How's that scene playing out right now before you?
Yeah, so right now Amtrak police is handling the investigation, but there's still about 3 ambulances behind me. They're just waiting, and then there's a couple police cars left in the area. The scene has really winded down. When I went into the New Jersey Transit area, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, there were people waiting for their trains. There was still blood on the ground and a bit of a scene, but seems like things are kind of going back to normal in there, and there hasn't been any action in terms of people being carried into ambulances or anything really in the past 45 minutes or so.
All right, Meredith Gorman, thank you. You and the crew there, please be safe and keep us posted of any developments. All right, thank you. Right now, let's turn our attention to retired Detective Michael Alcazar, a familiar face here on Newsroom Live. We're lucky to have his expertise. We'll still get to it. And originally, we had booked him to talk about the heightened security measures for Game 3 at the Garden with both President Trump and Mayor Mamdani in attendance. But we are going to first draw on his experience to try to get a better picture of what is happening at Penn Station right now and the breaking developments that we have there. Michael, thank you so much for being with us again. Good evening. And can you tell us what you're seeing and what you're getting from that situation of this multiple stabbing over at Penn Station?
Well, Penn Station is an unusual location, right? Because you don't have to get through a turnstile. You can just go down the escalator like you saw there, and you can walk right into the tracks. And if you've been there, you know unfortunately, there's like a big EDP population, emotionally disturbed population that lingers around that area by the stairwell. If I had to take, a professional guess, it could be one of these individuals and probably just had a weapon on them and attacked several people. The police are going to canvass for video surveillance if they haven't already made an apprehension by looking by the posture by the Port Authority police. I would say Meredith is correct in her guess that they probably made an apprehension already and removed the person.
Well, I imagine there are a lot of cameras there which can help aid in that process. And you're right, we have been there. We know there's a large homeless and maybe mentally challenged population there. So even a fair possibility that the individuals there are kind of known. Right? Is it fair to say that sometimes these individuals who are responsible in an outburst of violence like this have had previous encounters with law enforcement?
Yeah, it's the homeless population, the emotionally disturbed population frequent that area. Even when I travel there to go to John Jay College, I've seen them there. They're yelling at people, and the Port Authority, for the most part, Port Authority police do a good job removing them, bringing them to like hospitals. But it is Sunday. There's a lot of people. I'm sure there's a lot of tourists. And again, this is just my professional guess. I'm not really sure what happened. It could have been anything, but if I had to speculate, it was an emotionally disturbed person.
And there's for some time been a sort of unspoken rule or spoken rule, I don't know. Actually, when I talked to homeless people on an assignment at Penn Station, they said that during certain hours of the day, the rule is they can't put their bags down. They got to keep it moving because it is a massive commuter hub. But that a certain hour at night, I used to think it was around 8 o'clock, that the rules relax a little bit out of the humanity for it, where they might park it there. Have you heard of that? Is that sort of nonverbal understanding or unofficial understanding still in place?
Yeah, I mean, the police might verbalize that, but it's hot outside. They have a lot of fans. I think they have the fans running in there, so it's comfortable. So it would definitely attract that population in Penn Station.
All right, and last question: do you think we're just being overly sensitive about this because of the president's visit tomorrow and what's going on at MSG this week?
It's probably unrelated, but it is Penn Station. It's not unusual for assaults to happen. I hate to say it, assaults happen frequently in New York City. I don't think this is related. I'm actually surprised there weren't more police officers there. Given that the president's coming tomorrow, you would think that they would secure the perimeter much sooner. I'm sure there was a little bit of presence there. I mean, it was in the subway, and maybe the police, the NYPD was above ground and the Port Authority were below. But it's unfortunate that this incident happened. Hopefully, they made an apprehension and removed the individual, get him some help, or process them through the criminal justice system.
All right, Michael, to our original question, our original reason for bringing you on tomorrow, what kind of security complication does it pose for the president to come in? You probably already know the outdoor watch party has been canceled. And I thought perhaps they would move it to 7th Avenue, take it out of that plaza. What kind of strain is this on NYPD's resources? We know they can handle it, but what do you see from a security perspective tomorrow night being about?
I think the challenges are, so they removed it from the garden area, right in that block where the garden entrance is. So they removed it. So the challenge could be that they will, fans will create it somewhere else nearby, fairly nearby, a couple of blocks away. It could be because it's not concentrated in one area. They could pop up in numerous locations. So now the challenge for the NYPD is to make sure everyone is safe. Everyone is not doing damage around, the city, destroying climbing poles and stoplights and bus stops, which they've been doing in the past. So I think it's kind of like the challenge is now the police are going to be stretched, right? Instead of a concentrated one location where they can focus on people, now they're going to have to probably respond to different locations and, put people in custody, remove them so that, it keeps the peace and people just have a good time and people stay safe.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe it's good to have them have a place to go to. You know they're going to be there. Because is there another wrinkle to this tomorrow night in that there might be protesters out there, not Knicks fans, but people who are protesting President Trump's presence here in New York?
Yeah, that's going to be challenging, right? Because normally when we have protests, we like to keep them penned up in, separate locations, especially if they're pro-Trump, anti-Trump, and then you throw in the mix Knicks fans. Knicks fans are not going to tolerate a lot of politics when there's a game 3 on the line. So I would hope that the police, there's enough police presence that can protect any protesters that are, protesting the president going to the garden. Because, New Yorkers are pretty tough. They're not going to tolerate a lot. And hopefully the police, can keep them safe as well, because that is your right to protest. But, you're challenging a lot of Knicks fans that want a win and they don't want to talk politics. They're not about that. So hopefully the police can keep them safe too.
All right, and I know that seeing your attire the other day, that you're an unapologetic Knicks fan. Where are you going to watch the game from? And are you hoping that that at least for Game 4, that the watch parties will be back on?
Yeah, Arthur, it's been tempting. I definitely kind of want to experience that because it's been a long time since we've been in the championships. I'm a little bit older. I don't know if I can handle large crowds like that. I think I'll be watching it from the safety of my TV at home, with friends and family.
Retired detective, not retired from fun in life. All right, and last thing, the police department just releasing details. They said West 33rd Street, 7th Avenue, call received just after 9 o'clock. Reported person stabbed multiple people at the location. Total patient count, 5 civilians, 1 serious injury, 2 moderate injuries, 2 minor injuries transported to Bellevue Hospital. A suspect is in custody and their operations are ongoing. Is this more on the serious side, though, for 5 civilians with a suspect with a knife?
Oh, 100%. It's more victims than anticipated. I'd be curious to know what happened. Again, as a professional guess, I would think it was probably like an emotion disturbed person, that went unchecked, was able to secrete a weapon into the Penn Station, and unfortunately attacked these poor individuals, because it is a very dense area, right, with a lot of commuters waiting for their train. And, people are just looking, if you remember, people are just looking at the screens. They're not checking their area, making sure the scene is safe. That's what the police do. And this is probably what happened. Probably a person with some kind of mental illness attack these poor civilians.
Yeah, with such a high presence of visible presence of law enforcement there lately for these events, it feels like you would have a greater sense of safety. All right, Michael Alcazar, retired NYPD detective. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Arthur.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna have more coverage.